Airsoft Radio on the 1st of April 2019. This is the weekly collaboration show where we talk about all things Airsoft, bring on special guests down that way, and discuss the most recent Airsoft news. Today on the show, we're going to fight over telling our pet peeves in Airsoft. We're going to look at some of the best April Fool's jokes in the Airsoft scene today, and of course discuss any recent news that's happened in the last week. Although I will say it's pretty thin on the ground. If you're watching this right now, we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. So don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave us a comment throughout, and we'll be sure to highlight them when we can. And don't forget, why not share this right now with a friend or another player you know. But before we go into the main topic, let me introduce my co-hosts. So this way round, we got Platoon Jim.
How you doing?
Got Call Sign Tactical Queen, aka Sarah.
Yo guys.
And our special guest this evening, Call Sign Vortex, aka Jake. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
So everybody, what have you been up to? And I'll let you guys jump in first. What's everyone been up to?
Ladies first.
Not a lot actually, to be honest, because it's been Mother's Day and family stuff. So next week I am back on the Airsoft scene. So really been missing it. So it's been 3 weeks now since I haven't played. So not a lot to report on my side.
That's why you go to Saturday.
That should be made a criminal offence. That should be made a criminal offence. No Airsoft for 3 weeks.
Well, I would have taken her, but you know, you know what mums are like.
Yeah, that's what Saturday skirmishes are for, so you can still go to the Sundays and take your mum out for a dinner or anything like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Jim?
Well, me just working all weekend. I was at Call Under Fire and popped in at Invicta as well. Said hello. But yeah, it's all a blur. Everything. It's just another weekend doing a site shop, doing those bits and pieces. But you played on Saturday, didn't you, Graham?
I did play, yes. I was at the fort and I was using the borrowed DAS system, the GBLS DAS, which is very, very nice. Most expensive AEG I've ever fired, and a lot of fun. Not without its technical issues, but I'm sure I'll come back to that one shortly. But it was a fantastic day at the Reprops, which is the fort. It's a nice CQB site, really. I know it's probably not seen as CQB, but it's more CQB than it is outdoorsy. So it's a good site. And I know Jake had a busy one. So, Jake, why not tell everyone what you were up to over the weekend?
I went to the West Midlands Airsoft Breakpoint 24-hour mil sim. That was interesting. Very interesting. They had vehicles on the side that you could drive around. You literally through the roof of 2 of them. Great fun. Great fun. A lot of gunfire, a lot of gunfights. Just absolutely no sleep whatsoever. I think I had about 3 hours to be woken up by someone running in a building with full auto and like, ow, please don't shoot me, I'm asleep. It happens. Yep. We did get them back though, so it's always a plus. But yeah, it was great fun. A lot of good stuff. And what's better than going down there with 5 mates and just having a laugh? It's all you want, really. Just going out with some mates. You can't beat it with Airsoft. You really can't. It's what Airsoft, in my eyes, should be. You're going out with a load of mates. You meet some new friends if you can. If you can't, all right. Didn't help that I knew most of the rebels and they just wanted to, use me as a pincushion for most of the weekend. But, it's fun.
Is that your first mil sim, or have you done some in the past?
No, I've done a few. I think this is about my 4th or 5th one. Okay. I've done the Legion ones, and they're the ones that, without a doubt, you need to have been playing Airsoft, in my opinion, for at least 6 months to a year, and know the full rules and the gists of what you want to be doing, what your strengths are as such. If you're no good at being a sniper, don't even attempt it at a milsim, you will get into a bit of trouble. If you want to be a rifleman, it's the easiest job on the planet. You just go out there and start shooting people. Downside to that is you can't just pop anything that moves, because obviously you've got civvies playing, you've got, in certain cases, and then some that I have seen, you've got news crews floating around with the photographers that are there. Obviously the photographers are playing the form of press, and obviously they don't like it when people just go around and start executing people. It doesn't go very well, and you end up in all sorts of trouble. You could get a court martial in the field, you could have absolutely anything. But yeah, good. It's good fun. I am hoping to do 2 or 3 more milsims this year, if potentially I can. Other than that, it would just be a lot more skirmishes.
Yeah, I presume, Jim, you're looking to do some more milsims later on this year?
Yeah, trying to get out to some. Definitely want to get a Sterling date under my belt this year, which I didn't get to do for the last couple of years. But the trees is looking promising in June at the moment, so who knows? Don't want to do it in like January when it's freezing cold, because
it's a brutal sight, but not too bad in the summer. Yeah. Just bring your walking boots.
Yeah. No. So whereabouts do you normally play? Where's a skirmish site to you, Jake?
The what? Sorry.
Whereabouts? If you're not at a milsim, then whereabouts are your sort of local skirmish sites?
At the moment, it's like the department, which is just in Leicester. Because I've actually moved from Birmingham up to Coventry now, because I've moved in with a girlfriend. So it's a case of that's the closest one to us, because it's only 15 minutes away, 20 minutes away. But other than that, like outdoors ones are probably the Grange, which is Coventry, which is outdoors. But I just love my indoor CQB stuff, to be honest. I like running around like a... Graham will tell you this. I like running around like a headless nutter.
I say it's a bit of a up and down divide here, Jim. Me and you play on the outsides, and them two down there are the CQB guys.
No, I love CQB. It's just trying to find good CQB. That's the problem. Yeah, I'm fed up with sites that are just converted laser tag places. Yeah.
Well, we don't have a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we've been.
No, absolutely. You've got a great point. You have got an absolutely phenomenal point. I'd love, and I would absolutely love, there's a guy online. He's not very well known, but there's a guy online who plays in America, and there's a place over there, and oh my God, it looks amazing. They've basically, I think it must be like a 50,000 square feet warehouse, and they've turned it into a street. And there's houses either side. There's an apartment complex that's got like 3 floors, and you just run around there. And I'm just like, wow, I'd go over there. I would actually want to live in one of these buildings. I'd live there. I'd be happy to go out to work, get a job, come back, just to live there and play. Someone walks in as an intruder or something. Oh, it'd be amazing.
There is a few sites in the Midlands that have got the kind of the street and the vehicles inside them, aren't there? I don't think it's level 2. There's another one. The owner's Michaela, and I'm trying to remember what side it's called. But they have this kind of street appearance. But I think the big thing is it's always down to the size of the sites is normally the biggest issue. But
I keep meaning to go.
Have you tried Project X yet?
No. It is on my list. It is on my list to go.
That's massive.
I've got a huge list of places I want to go. The one that a friend told me about the other day, I think is it Airsoft Plantation? I think it's called down in S6 Way, I believe.
Yeah.
I do want to play that, because that I was told it's a mixture of, if you've got a long range gun or a short range gun, either way you're gonna have a lot of fun. And yeah, it just massively appeals to me. The fact that you get 3 or 4 people giving you a recommendation is like, yeah, you just want to go and have a fun day and have a laugh. But as you've just said, level 2, I know quite a lot of the lads from Broadsword. They play up there a lot, and they always rage about it. They said it's absolutely phenomenal. It's just a shame, really, that as one of your viewers said, rest in peace the mall, because that was just phenomenal. That was good fun
Definitely.
in Reading.
Hated that site.
The mall. I was just about to say how special the mall was, and how clever the games were, and they didn't give a lot.
Crap, the marshalling
You
was.
were fine as long as you had, like, as long as you had, say, I don't know, what, 0.9s in your gun, you were fine.
So this is the site I was talking about, and hopefully the volume should be better, guys. You can feel free to comment on there if that's still quiet. District 23. So that is indoor site in the Midlands area. I'll be honest, I didn't look at the exact address, but
cool.
but they've kind of taken that kind of street mentality, put a couple of vehicles in there, and I know they've been playing around there. I believe it's a Nerf arena. That's also. I just want to make sure this is actually the UK site, because actually saying that there makes me worry, but it's actually America only. No, British pounds. There we go. Fine. And that was, where is that? Bingham. So there we go. So yeah, closer to you.
I might have to put that on my list to go and visit.
Yeah,
I might have to go and put that on my list.
Middlesbrough.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a few people I know went there, so it was a very good day. So let me just.
I might have to put it on my list. I might have to put that on my list.
I mean, Sarah, you're a big fan of CQB. What would you say down in the southeast of the sites that you'd like to go to from a CQB experience?
To be honest, I haven't really had that much opportunity to get to CQB. Obviously, I've been 3 or 4 times now to AAA, which is amazing. But you are very, very close to everybody. It's a painful site, which I'm not bothered about that at all. But to be honest, that's the only site I've been to since the mall closed. So I don't know where else they would be. I know there's one in London. There is one in London, but they do lots of other things as well. They do things like
bunker,
axe
isn't it?
throwing and all sorts.
Yeah, the bunker.
I've been to Portsmouth and I've done the tunnels that's right up on the cliff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the other bunker, the ECAP one.
Done that one.
That's a good site.
That was incredible.
Full auto indoors.
Oh yeah. That was
It's big boys rules down there.
Violent game. But I tell you what, you don't ever want to get left in there because you'll never get out. Everywhere looks the same. Every tunnel is the same. It's proper creepy, but yeah, no.
You got Drakelow tunnels is bigger, right? Drakelow tunnels, and again, that's more towards the Midland, but that's a massive tunnel. If I remember correctly.
That's immense. That is immense.
You've been there.
The only place by far, I'd say, if you do not have a tracer unit, you ain't knowing where your shots are going. If they recommend torches, and literally, if you're daft enough to take a torch, everyone sees where you are, and you just it's painful.
Oh really?
Oh god, yeah.
See, I don't.
Oh god, yes.
I don't see the point of the torch in CQB, unless you are a fair distance. But if you're up close, what is the point of shining the torch every time?
Shock and awe.
Just take your tracers.
It's as daft as it sounds. When you're in the pitch black, I'm one of these really mean people that I just have the pressure pad on, so it's whap, whap, whap. Literally, as mean as it sounds, if I just get that shine in someone's eyes, they can't pull a trigger. As daft as it sounds, they don't want to pull a trigger because they're a little bit dazed. And unfortunately, at that point, unlucky, you're dead. Back to respawn you go. And I'll just stay there, and they'll come back again and again. And at that point, that's not my fault. That's their fault for being silly.
And then that's the same with people that put their torches on all the time and then wonder why they get shot out. You know, people that just stand there with their torch switched on, and then my torch got shot out. Worse.
Is that how they say it, Jim, as well?
Yeah. Go down the bunker and see when people complain down there about, I got shot really close. It's like, okay, yeah, that's meant to happen.
Or every scope that gets shot out. There's pretty much a graveyard anytime you go to the tunnels or Epsom tunnels of sites and scopes being shot out. And it's like, just take it off. You don't need it there. Or have a vortex. Then you can use a warranty. Chris will probably message me later saying, please don't advise everybody to take their vortex scopes.
Yeah. You'd be getting like 100 a week in. Stop.
The new CQB edition.
Oh, it could have been the April Fools from those guys. So, Jake, welcome to the show. Obviously, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, would you mind introducing yourself to everyone on the podcast, on the Airsoft Radio? Is he there?
Oh, I'm just glad it's not me this time. 2 seconds.
Right.
Normally it's you that's in and out and in and out.
That's
I
it.
know. It's amazing what happens when you shout at Virgin Media.
While we let Jake connect, on say so. While Jake isn't there, I'll talk about my experience with the GBL SDAS that arrived on Thursday. Which is there, the GDR 15. Amazing bit of kit. It's the most expensive riff I've ever used. I think the price is £1,700 at this point, which it definitely makes you wince a bit, but it's actually it's very cool. Now, don't get me wrong, it definitely has a few little finicky bits. You've got to get it set up right. So the first half of the day, I was definitely struggling. The wrong BBs were definitely one bad problem. It was just mincing them up. It was just grounding BB after BB. Unfortunately, I was stuck with what was available on site at the time for heavyweights, and it was just making mincemeat out of them. So you definitely need a nice, solid, hard BB. But I will say the range was impressive. Hitting from one side to the other side, which is kind of the same thing I had with the modified PDW, who's hitting the same kind of ranges there. There we go. Jake is back. There we go. Welcome back. Jake, you in? He's coming in slow motion, but he's there. We'll wait for that to catch up.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Literally, my iPad just decided to turn off.
Oh, no worries. Well, we can hear you, but we can't see you yet. It seems to have frozen. But I'm sure you're not permanently picking your nose, so hopefully that will unfreeze in a minute. So I was just saying, for anyone who doesn't know you, hasn't heard of you, would you mind
never might be.
You are?
You never know, I might.
So, can you tell everyone who you are and your experience and specifically your background before Airsoft? Do.
This is where you play the lift music.
I forgot, haven't I? There we go. Jake.
There we go. I've just come back. Sorry. I'm having
good.
massive difficulty with this for some reason. I don't know why.
It's all right. That was Jim last week. So we'll try one more time.
I don't even know what you've been talking about. Sorry, it's just literally gone completely blank. I've no idea what on earth you've been talking about for the last few minutes.
No, you're good. You're good. So my question for you was for anyone who doesn't know who you are, hasn't heard of you before. Would you mind just introducing yourself to the Airsoft Radio audience?
Oh, basically, yeah, not a problem. My name's Jake. I like the name Vortex, which is what I came up with originally because I just run around absolutely everywhere and cause quite a lot of chaos, like a vortex. Some of the lovely people that I met last year, because they just thought I was nuts, decided to call me Fruit Loops. So that's another lovely name that I got given. Even made a patch for me, which was quite nice. So I've been playing Airsoft for about 5 or 6 years, or roughly, and I just absolutely, I love everything about Airsoft. I genuinely do. Just love meeting new people. I love the fact that you've got so many diverse people that play Airsoft. You can have people who are ex-forces. You can have someone who's in the police force. You can have someone who's a paramedic. You can be playing against someone who's a doctor. You can be playing with someone who's an undertaker. You know, rides horses, doesn't ride horses. You can have a pilot. You know, you can have a barrister, a judge. You can have a criminal, an ex-criminal.
It sounds
You can
like
have
the
absolutely
firearms
any
campaign.
every sort.
There was a
But no,
firearms
you
campaign.
can
with
literally
that, I
have
am.
any and every sort. You can have any and every sort of person from life, from the world, from life, and
Yeah.
everybody's thrown together with, you know what, these are the rules. You'll play by these rules, or you don't play, and everyone does it. To, you know, they find their own loopholes and stuff, but they more abide by the rules of everything. What else is better than that? What else is better than that? This is what I love about Airsoft. And it's not, there is no, you can have a hyped up gun. I've got a TM. It's a custom built TM. It's pretty souped up. It goes where I want. It shoots about 70 meters or so. Doesn't mean that a sneaky little so-and-so who's Airsoft in his life behind me and shoot me in the back. And it's probably been used 1,000 times.
Yeah,
No
don't we know it?
yes whatsoever. And you're on the same playing field.
That'll come to a pet peeve
I couldn't
later on, I
love that.
guarantee that.
What else couldn't you love? It's brilliant. This is what I love about Airsoft. Does a little bit, yeah. It does a little bit, but it's what makes it. But it's what makes Airsoft great. Makes Airsoft great. You can be, obviously, depending on what the site age limits are. You can be I think the lowest I've seen is 13 on a site. You can have a 13-year-old going up against a 45-year-old bloke. The 13-year-old will go and absolutely destroy the guy, and he'll be moaning about the 13-year-old. He didn't take his hit, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. No, mate, you're just crap, and he was decent on the day. Get over it. Yes, it's a pet peeve to a degree, but it's also fun.
Oh, I can't wait to hear Jim's input on this conversation later on.
I was just thinking, am I that 30-something-year-old that's had a go at some 13-year-old because he shot me with his ARP9? Yeah.
In bright pink. And
it's not about the colour, it's the gun.
Well, Jake, welcome to the show and thank you for that introduction. So let's talk about, obviously, today was a fun day for this morning. Anyway, it was April Fool's Day. Did everyone remember? Did anyone fall for it here? Did anyone look at that and go, hang on a minute? I know you two were relatively involved in something that I did anyway. So was it on the top of your mind this morning?
Only in the sense that when you sent that to me a couple of days ago, I did fall for it. But in my defence, it was a few days early. So
yes.
But no, I mean, to be honest, I didn't really get to see much today. Too busy, working and sorting stuff out. I saw a couple of bits way after it happened, but that was about it. So
I actually reposted it, and the majority of the comments were, "I nearly shat myself for a second," and then they realised, and they were like ready to go for the government, as if they aren't already. But they were like, "No, let's save Airsoft." Oh, I just noticed the rest of it. Oh. All right, please stretch.
Let me go across to what we did earlier. So this is something I was involved with, and you may have seen this. Jake, did you see this? I will try and zoom in because there was a lot on.
To be fair, as soon as I saw it, the only one that was absolutely hysterical was literally tribute to SEA star Harry Bow, who's goes missing, and I was just like, oh God, here we go. Get it off. Just leave my screen, be gone. And then I was just,
So earlier on this morning, I posted that the BBC News that Brexit has been finally agreed, but the laws had to be changed. as the Green Party had that deciding vote, and the only way they voted to help with Brexit was to ban fishing, knitting, and airsoft due to creating the perfect Brexit deal due to excess plastic waste, essentially. Which was quite funny. Now, a few people jumped straight on and was like, "Yep, Brexit being solved. There's April Fools in itself."
Yeah.
But we obviously, on top of that, we had the Alphonse emergency, which was a tribute to Alphonse, the Airsoft YouTuber, who just reached 100,000 subscribers. So, congratulations there, Alphonse. But we had his FOT outbreak means unvaccinated HPA virgins are barred from public spaces. It's just quite funny because certain people caught bits of the news and other people didn't. Obviously, as Jake was saying, we had Harry McSwain, who is a prominent speed softer in the community, who's been on the Airsoft Nation live show in the past. He's actually quitting from skirmishing, taking up more of a competitive role, both in Airsoft but also paintball. So since he put that announcement out, I put the post that he's gone missing. We had the most popular phrases of 2018 being "What's up, guys?" which beat for this year, for the first time ever, Tango Down being knocked into second space, which was Jet Desert Fox and Novrich there, which was quite funny, but not many people spotted it. And then obviously along the right-hand side there, we had a whole litter of fake news stories, from Kicking Mustang being the least favourite attraction, from Norway banning organised littering due to Vince McMahon, which was something we discussed last week. The WWF has called Airsoft organised littering. And like I say, a whole world of stuff on there. Even the murder of the Superstar Chicken Stretch. Matt Tavere, who runs or helps run the Super Mega Tactical Airsoft news page, being the painted murderer there. There we go. Jake is back on. Let's get you back off there, pal. So yeah, that was quite a fun one, and it was quite funny that even in the top menu there, it does say April Fool's Day right at the very top. But it did catch a lot of people off guard.
Yeah, that was the bit that made me feel like an arsehole when I read it. And it was just like, oh, shit.
Oh, I suppose we also forgot that as April arrives, there's still reports. Yeah, as April arrives, there's still reports of snowflakes across the fields in the UK, and who will be around all year round. Because we've all met those guys. Now, across the rest of the airsoft, we had Longbow there to start the spring and our third year of operating. For the first 5 orders, every 32nd of the month will be for free. So that was very nicely done. We had, which I didn't spot this one, but we have exclusive 6mm ammo sold in gold-plated BBs. So I'm sure there's a few people out there that would probably love to have that.
You got to admit though, you and this is the absolute winning on the cake. You'd get someone who would turn around and say, "Can you specify the weight for me on those, please?" You would get someone who would say it. Can you specify the weight?
How many carats? We had Kydex Customs saying, after much deliberation, we've decided that we're now only making holsters for Nerf guns. It's Nerf or nothing, which I thought was quite funny there. I love the fact it was apologies for any inconvenience. Nerf is the future.
Oh, Tag.
The Mid-Wales Airsoft Group got in there quite nicely with the F117 Nighthawk Stealth BBs. Now, this unique design means it's black on the front when you fire at an enemy, so they never see the BB coming, but it's white on the back so that you can see where you're shooting. Can you imagine? I wonder if anyone's even commenting about buying them. But yes, that was a very good one there for those guys. And then finally, we had Brad from the Mark 23 group basically teasing the Mark 23 community, saying he was legal with 0.4s, but when they chronoed on 0.2s, he had dual creeped all the way up to 700 feet per second. So a lot of people asking what gas was he using. Very nicely done, Brad. But it was plenty of fun in the community watching some people fall for it and everyone else correct. So, guys, I'm going to ask you now. What's your thoughts? Let's bring back to everyone here. What's your thoughts? Should people say it's April Fool's, or should it be quiet? Because I was actually hiding my posts when anyone mentioned it was April Fool's. I just hid that post, so it was still on the page, but no one would see. But I'd hidden it. Would you leave them up there, or do you let people get away with it?
I think it's hard to pull off a good April Fool's joke now.
Isn't it? It's personal preference, isn't it? Really, it's hard. It's hard to get someone to keep quiet. It's hard to keep them quiet because you always get that. Really, everyone has them. Everybody has that friend and that person that's like, that's an April Fool, and they literally plaster it everywhere and screenshot it to half the world, and then you've lost the element, then, haven't you? If I think the true way to pull off a absolute genius April Fool's prank is not to tell anybody at all. Do it and then go dark for 12 hours. Do it and go dark.
If you're going to do it,
It's the only way to do an April Fool's prank in true genius.
Oh, Mitch. Mitch, you're an idiot.
Mitch is saying, do it a day later, nobody will know.
Mitch, just shut up and work in McDonald's like you normally do. Leave it alone.
So I did a silly one a couple of years ago. I think it was just before Brexit kicked off. I did on my personal profile that I'm going for election for the BNP, and I did the whole flag, the whole lot. And my granddad called me up that day, and he was very upset with me until I realised, and because I'd totally forgotten I'd done it. I'd done it in the morning, gone to work, and my granddad was calling me. He says, "I'm very disappointed in you," and for me, I was like, "Oh, I don't see any problem with it." And totally forgetting what I'd done there. But that was probably the funniest side of actually doing an April Fool's joke. But the worst bit now is Googling myself and seeing that as one of the images. My thought was I've destroyed any career chance in the future if they see that I'm a BNP candidate for the rest of my life.
Unless you're going for a job with the BNP.
Yeah.
In which case you're a shoo-in. So.
Then you're sorted. You're sorted then.
No, the key to it is to disable the comments, and then no one can actually give it away.
Oh, that's a good idea. But then you can't laugh at the people that
That's
actually
not
do
a bad
fall
shame.
for it.
Yeah, you want the dumb people.
But it was quite fun to see how many people had shared the same stuff, and then we'd all started commented on each other's posts to make it look more and more believable, which was quite entertaining.
It was quite saying to me, it's an you know that, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm in on it.
Yeah.
The best ones are the ones that when suppliers
Absolutely love it.
The best ones are the ones that when it's a manufacturer brings it out. Because I remember like one year True Spec brought out the it was a complete Molly suit, hat, everything. It was all Molly, so you could put your pouches on it. And it got so bad that Airsoft International reposted it as a serious story, and then tried to come out and say, "Oh no, we knew it was a joke all along." It's like, you fucking didn't. You bit like everyone else did.
Didn't they also do a brick? Wasn't there a brick uniform? Was that a year or two ago? The brick uniform,
maybe.
The urban uniform. That was an April Fool's joke. But it was on the BBC. The BBC got caught out by it, if I remember correctly. Because I think that was the year after that they did the flying penguins. I don't know if anyone remembered this. They did a documentary about flying penguins, and loads of people fell for it. And they had this animation of a flying penguin. Obviously, penguins can't fly, and they put that on the BBC. And suddenly, everyone was calling in, going, "Penguins can't fly! I can't believe it!" And it was April Fool's. It was a very good one by them.
I would be one of those idiots that'd be like, I never knew that. Really? I would be that guy. I would be that guy.
There was one today actually in the news, and I'm certain it is an April Fool, but they never came out with it. Is that mosquitoes don't like dubstep music?
No, that's news. No, that's real.
Why?
That's real. They don't
Wow.
It's on the BBC website. There's like 10 news that you think would be April Fool's joke, but actually aren't, and that was under there earlier.
That's not real, honestly. No. But it is for sure real then.
Yeah, there's something about the beat or something like that, or the kind of the pitch of it puts them off or deters them. Yeah, I actually saw on BBC earlier. I was looking to see what they'd done, and that had come up, which I thought was quite entertaining.
Is that not just a story written by someone that wants to sell a load of dubstep records?
Yeah.
Summer's coming up, you know. Some old granny playing dubstep because she's fed up of mosquitoes.
Brilliant.
Are you sure it's not an April Fool's joke, Graham?
Well, I can only go off. I was just looking for. There is someone just shared one in the comment section. I'll just see if I could pick that up. I can't seem to find it. But yeah, there was some weird stuff on BBC talking about April Fools that aren't April Fools, or something about Snoop Dogg and stuff like that. It's funny when you get to the point that news companies have to report stuff that they have to actually specifically state, like, this is not an April Fool's joke, because on that day, nobody believes anything that happens. If Brexit was resolved today, no one would believe it.
Okay, yeah, right.
I think if Brexit was resolved tomorrow, no one would believe it either. That argument's going to go on longer than Jewel Creep.
There we go. Mosquito bites can be avoided by listening to electronic music, specifically dubstep. Even more specifically by the US artist. No way is this by one specific artist. That is definitely a way of selling more review or CDs. But yeah,
wow.
Apparently that is news. Genuine news.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I'm out of the room with a beat.
So you know where I am at the next meal sim at 1 o'clock in the morning, because you'll just hear the rave going out of like after
Rocking
me.
out to dubstep. Dum 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 dum.
Yeah, well, last year, and I won't bring I have a photo of it, but I won't be able to get it. Last year I went out to it might have been the year before. I did a 24-hour hunteering event. Fantastic day, but you're out on the field for 24 hours, limited ammunition, and we kind of bug under a tree and just kind of camp there for the night. It's far too black. But between after about 8 or 9 p.m, it's too dark to move around. Every step was giving you away, so we all kind of just hunkered down. And obviously, you got your leaf suit on, you're all camoed up, but my forehead was clearly exposed. And I woke up in the morning and I'd been bitten every single part on there, even days afterwards. There was just this huge old rash, which was quite funny. My wife was very much laughing at it when, as soon as I came back, there we go, bring 4 people in again. So yeah, maybe that's what I need to do next time around, just wear some dubstep music around my... There we go. Jack's already rolling in with it. You'll be taking that to the trees. Airsoft Jack and Jim rolling out in the trees.
Jack. No, I'm not going to this one. Although I think I've got a bit of an axe to grind with Jack, because he was supposed to come into the shop and didn't. So, he made this big deal. He'd been messaging me all week about he was coming to the shop. He needed to buy a new pair of trousers, and then the day after he was supposed to come in, he messaged me and was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, mate. I just couldn't make it." And so, yeah. So yeah, me and Jack have got a problem at the minute.
Poor old Jack. So while we're waiting for Jake to get in, we can talk about or start the conversation about pet peeves. Now, I'm sure over the years, me and Jim have more than a handful. The longer you played, the more you get.
3.
Right? I did say pick 3, yeah. And that's
Can I pick the 3 I don't want to do?
Yeah, Jake messaged me this morning. I've got 8 on a list. I was like, okay, well, if any of them are picked out, then at least you've got another one to go to. So, shall we go with ladies first? Do you want to go with your pet peeves? And guys, if you're watching this live, whether on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, why not leave a comment to tell us what your pet peeves are in Airsoft? What's the thing that just drives you crazy? And I'll feature them out throughout the show here. So Sarah, we'll go with you. I've just seen one of the comments come up already. Wow.
What is it? Airsoft podcasts.
Yeah, if only.
Oh.
Everyone's least favorite favorite sniper there. Jake, we're just going to get into the pet peeves there, and we'll start with Sarah. Give us your first pet peeve.
Right, it's a simple and straightforward one. And it's 3 words. Dead men talking. You shoot them, you've got them, you've got the satisfaction. Yes, I got him. He turns around and goes, "Blah, blah, 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 blah," and you want to shoot him in the arse. I tell you what, that grinds my gears. Shut the fuck up and fuck off back to the respawn, and then come back and then tell them where we all are. It just winds me right up. And they're told in the briefing, they're told on the field, do not fucking talk when you're shot. So,
See, this has clearly got to Sarah because she's not sworn before, and that's just like 5 F-bombs. Brilliant.
It's a lot of F, but yeah.
No, it's good because it means that this won't get picked up on child-friendly search engines. It's brilliant.
I like that one. You know what? I didn't even think about that. Yeah, dead men don't talk.
No,
brilliant one.
Talk. Zombies don't talk. Well, they do a bit, but they don't speak any words. But yeah, they just don't talk. And it just, if you want to come and play a game and you've paid the same money as I have, play it properly. I know everyone says about cheaters, but dead men talking, they're just as bad. They're just as bad. So there you go. That's my first pet peeve.
I'll be honest, I completely agree. I don't know if I go to that crazed of an extent about it, but I just shoot him again.
Why waste your expensive BBs?
Because I still get the satisfaction.
But the worst ones are dead men talking on radios as well.
But yeah, I'd John Graham side with that. If they do that, shoot him again. Gotta be honest.
Yeah,
I
Jim,
really am on
that's
Graham's
the
side
other
with
thing.
that. Pretty much just shoot him again.
Yeah, radios, obviously, they just walk away straight on comms anyway.
Yeah. And that's happened at like all different levels of games. I've seen that at 24-hour Milsim events and what have you, when you think you should know better, but yeah, there's arseholes everywhere.
I think the most unique one I've saw about that by far is with the radio stuff. You are literally walking around, you've been shot. The guy is of another, he speaks other languages. Because you can't understand what he's saying because you're speaking English, he's on the radio telling his 5 mates in Polish or, whatever language he's from, Russian, where you've just come from.
You can still see
half a dozen lads turn up and you're like, what? And his excuse is, well, you didn't say it in the rules, I'd used the loophole. No! That's... Oh,
you're talking
that's one that really, that one really annoys the hell out of me. Or my new favourite that someone's used on me recently, sign language. I swear to God, he used sign language. He used sign language, and his excuse: no words left my mouth. I did not cheat. Like,
did you have some sign language for him?
See, I'd be the dickhead that would run up to him and go, "What, are you fucking deaf or something?" And he'd be like, "Yeah."
Well, you literally can't say anything to that, can you? At no point in the rules did it say you may not use sign language.
Falls on deaf ears.
What can you say to that?
Oh, Jim.
I don't care.
Falls on deaf ears. Very good, very good. So, question about that, then. How about in this situation, not particularly telling them intel, but if, for example, you're on comms with your team, one of your team are trying to get through to you to ask you something, do you just walk away and go, I'm dead man, and then carry on going back to saying? Is that still dead man talking? Do you still go, no, that's too much information? Or is that just
no, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, because if you've got someone who keeps
if you're a dead
on,
man and you're on the radios, none.
See, I do that. If someone's like trying to get through to Graham, are you there? I'm like, I'm dead. And it's like, I'll be back when I'm back. I'm back.
Well, it's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like dead going back to respawn and then cut it off there. I think that's fine. But the moment you give away any kind of position numbers, any of that shit. But I think the worst ones are the guys that try and do it, and it's so obvious, but they just don't understand how obvious it is. Because I literally saw one where a guy was he'd been hit and he put his hand in the air and he was like.
For anyone on the podcast, this is Jim with his hand above his head, pointing in the direction of the kill.
I forgot that this is not just going to be a video. But it's just like
I'm not even joking. That exact same thing happened to me on Saturday morning. Literally, 3 of us had been shot, and literally, we're all there. We're all shot. Happy days. We're in, the centre of a field. We're dead out in sight. Literally, I'm looking at the one lad. He's looking at me. He's looking at the 2 others, and he's like.
And for anyone who's listened to
on the radio, no. It's like
ASMRM,
no,
isn't it?
you're dead. He's like, don't get me wrong. I love the enthusiasm. Sometimes I love the enthusiasm of some of them, but they're like, no, you're dead. Don't talk on a radio. But he's like, are you sure we can get him in an ambush round the corner? No, that's not how the rules work, dude.
Exactly.
Well, the comments
enthusiasm,
are definitely
man.
busy.
You gotta love it, ain't you?
People definitely have a case of yes, when you're dead, and that includes no using radios. So this is quite an interesting one here. Okay, moving on. Jake, your first pet peeve, please.
My first pet peeve by far is what we all hate, and we all hate it: the hit caller. Oh. It's like, mate, I've just hit you. I've hit you. Go on, take another shot then. And literally, you see his BB land 30 feet in front of you. Like, I hit you again. No, your gun's crap, mate. Put a bit more hop on it or angle it. No, I'm still hitting you. No, you're not, dude. I've just hit you. And they rage something chronic about it. They complain to the marshal. They complain to the mates. They then start, full autoing the life out of everything. Still don't go with it.
Yeah.
But, oh my God, they rage about it. Something like, just need to, get a bit closer, or hate to say it. That's my absolute ultimate pet peeve: the hit caller. And just none.
How prominent do you guys find that? I know we've all experienced it. I'm finding more and more times where someone's shooting at you, you're shooting at them, and both of you are just waving at each other and just pointing, but the BBs are landing beyond them at that point. I don't tend to get so many people going, I've hit you. But maybe I've just been fortunate more recently.
I must admit, when I first started playing... Go on, sorry. Go on, Jake. No?
But at the end of the day, I mean, they're a 6mm toy. They're not laser guided. Wind blows them off course.
Yeah.
You ain't always going to get something that's perfect. And if you unless you're using all 5.56 round, that case you ain't playing airsoft, and they ain't going to go where you want them to most of the time. I've got a 1,500 pound TM. I miss quite a lot. That's why I have 6 mags. That's why I have 6 mags and a stoner. Do you know what I mean? I don't always hit what I aim at. I don't always hit what I aim at. That's why I always put 2 or 3 shots. If I'm lucky enough to hit with the first one, bloody good day for me. You know what I mean? It doesn't always go where you want.
Sarah,
how it is, but yeah, the hit caller. That's it.
I have, and I think the more I play, the more I'm getting used to how far my gun will shoot, and I'll point it, and then I'll realise actually that guy's too far away. I'm not going to hit him, and he'll be doing the same, but he will try and attempt to hit me, and they'll fall in front of me, and then I'll get this pointy finger, and a kind of like that. And I'm like, no, mate. And then I get a marshal come to me in the safe zone. You're not taking your hits. What
So
can
you've
you
actually
do?
had that happen. See, I've never.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I do the sarcastic waving at them, and I know it completely kills any immersion you have
I
in a
just
game.
stand there like a lemon. Like, what do you want me to do?
I just sit there waving awkwardly at them until they
Yeah.
realise the point that they're not hitting.
I think it's about if you know how far your own gun can go, then you know whether you've hit them or not. Because you get a reaction from them either way, don't you? So to start yelling at them, it's not going to make them do anything.
I like
It's not-
me personally, I like the guy who you'll shoot, you'll hit them, and you know you've hit them because they'll dance or they'll flinch, and then they still don't. They ignore it. That is my favourite sort of person because in that case, you don't get angry, you get closer, and you aim for a fleshy bit. All the dance they make, mate, it's like the whole new version of body popping. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal when they start. It's like, come on, where can I make him twitch next? And then they'll call the hit and they'll walk off. Happy day. Don't get angry. Get closer. It's the way forward, I tell you.
Go on then,
That's how
Jim.
you deal with any hit taker.
Go on, Jim. You've been smiling. You've been waiting.
I have, yeah. See, I've seen it from the other side where you've got the guy who's blatantly in range of you and still not taking his hits. And you do get frustrated with it because it doesn't matter about getting closer. It doesn't matter about putting more ammo for them. If they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat. It doesn't matter if it's 1 BB or 100. And that's at the point where it's like, oi, you fucking prick. Piss off, back to your car. Go home and fuck yourself because you're a fucking job's worth. And yeah, I just fucking hate those people. Like, it's a simple rule: just take your fucking hits. And I mean, I've had it on sites where I've been next to a mate and he's gone, mate, you just got hit, and you don't feel it, you don't know, it's just a 1 in a million shot. And you're like, yeah, if you're a fair player, you're going to stick your hand up and you're just going to walk away, regardless. But yeah, I mean, guys that dance around when you can clearly see that they're being hit, or if they've got Teflon in their name, like someone we know, and apparently, wasn't there a bit of an argument at the fort on Saturday?
There was, yes.
Was there? Oh, okay. Was that not fair?
Well, no, it's not. No, it was between a Teflon and a speed softer, but there was enough witnesses.
Oh,
there was
couldn't
enough
be any worse,
witnesses.
could it?
There was
And a
enough
paintballer as
witnesses to say
referee.
that-
It wasn't an argument. It was a discussion that was won.
Yeah.
Which one
Teflon
takes
has
the
a-
hits the least?
Yeah, Teflon has a part. A TRMR had landed at Speedsofter's feet before he continued to carry playing on.
Oh, don't defend him, Graham.
I will say he was rather upset after that incident.
I heard, yeah.
He was
Had someone
rather
come up
upset.
to me on Sunday and go, it was a really good day, except there was one little argument. You know. I was like, do tell. But yeah, no, I, just cheating in general, I think, is the bad thing. It's not I don't think it's the hit call. Someone shouting out that's paid the same walk-on fee as everyone else is necessarily always at fault. You always get people that take it too far and are a complete dickhead about it. But
absolutely.
or you get those guys that it's like, oh, it's him again. He does this every time, and no one wants to tell him that he hasn't even got any BBs in his gun because we emptied it at lunchtime. But
I
yeah,
once saw someone go out and literally he swore blind he was shooting someone. Didn't even have a mag in his gun. That's my absolute favourite. I've genuinely seen it. I saw him do it. He's firing like full auto. I'm hitting you. I'm taking it. Dude, you got no mag in your gun, bro?
we should all just go back to playing with Springers. Springer pistols, one
And
at a time.
off he goes. It's brilliant.
Oh, Carlo.
Evening, Carlo.
Wow.
To Jim, pet peeve.
I don't really have any.
The least is too much. One out.
I'm waiting for you to say airsoft in general. That's what I'm waiting for. Airsoft in
about
general.
airsoft.
No, I mean, I tell you the one that's always really just gritted my shit, and I've been to loads of different sites where it's happened, and this is not a slight on anyone that's ex-forces whatsoever, but it's that one middle-aged guy that comes up and he'll just nudge you. You'll be taking a position somewhere and nudge you. He's like, "Follow me, mate. I'm ex-forces," and then he'll just run out into the middle of nowhere, get shot up by everyone, and you'll go, "Mate, you haven't even fucking served in a McDonald's, let alone the British Army. Now fuck off. I'm not following you anywhere." And then the worst part is you get guys that have served that are really fucking good, and you want to keep up with them, but every site I've been to, there's always one, and it's just like, fuck off.
In the safe zone, they'll tell you a long story about how they nearly joined the SAS. Or,
Well, they were all on the Iranian embassy siege.
They were all
job,
on the balcony.
Yeah.
Everyone was on the balcony.
Or the Bin Laden raid,
They were there. It's
God.
true. There always is one. Wherever you go, there's always that one bloke.
Yeah, but he's always got like a 4XL t-shirt on and a 50-inch waist, and you think, you've not done the assault course in your life. It's true.
But he's eating there.
I mean, I'm not slim, all right, but I don't claim to be anything. So.
No.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
We just lost both of our audience members.
Yeah. all two guys are gone. Okay. One of
Brilliant.
my
Absolutely brilliant.
one of my pet peeves are grenade kills, and whether you do take it or don't take it, and what's 5 meters, and whether the bang is a bang or the BB is a BB grenade. Every site does it differently, and even if the rules are as simple as they are, nobody seems to call them. Even tag rounds, watching a tag round go down. And Jim, we were at a site where
tag rounds kill people. Let's ban them all.
Yeah, but we had a tag round.
Just talk tags.
Well, I seem to be an expert on this. I can tell you for absolute guaranteed certainty, because I had it happen to me on Saturday morning. If a tag round hits you on the leg, fucking hurts, mate. Because I've got a bruise on my leg the size of a golf ball, and I round to the leg, fucking hurts. So if a tag round hits you, yeah, you're gone. You're limping back to wherever your respawn is. You weren't walking back; you're limping back.
The amount of people you can throw a grenade at and it can land in their feet and not they carry on like nothing happened, or a tag round over their head. They go, "Oh, it's above my head." It's like, yeah, but there's still a 5 meter radius around it. Doesn't matter what kind of radius around it. If you're in 5 meters, you're in 5 meters.
So again, I don't think it's the grenade's fault. I think it's people that can't count 5 meters.
Yeah.
That should be the real bugbear. And they're the same people that's like, my gun shoots 100 meters, and it's like, no, it doesn't.
It's the lack of understanding of what 5 meters is, because they stand there and go, "Well, what should we do then?" "Oh, okay, we're dead then." Like, okay, it's gone off within your vicinity. You're dead, but they can't just. It's like, "Oh, what should we do?" It's like a reaction that they don't quite know what's going on when one goes off next to their ear or next to their foot. Or
everyone stops there. Yeah, that's it. They stop there like, should we take this one?
Yeah, even though they've had it very clearly.
Well, I had a brilliant one. I had my remote det set the weekend, and I had my remote det set round the corner, because why not? So I've got trying to look through this rifle scope, because obviously seeing the det is a lot more important than seeing the actual box. Cars come round, they still have that around the corner. Bang! And literally, they don't even, because they're driving and they're firing full auto, they don't even see it. Luckily, the ref is right there. I'm like, yeah, that car's out now. They've spun round, drove off. He's like, yeah, that car should have stopped. Luckily, the ref went down, got the car back. We stole the car. But yeah, that's what I love about stuff. Sometimes it's so awkward to tell. You spent a grenade kill. If you're running away from whatever pyro it is, a big grenade, a tremor, whatever it is, you cannot tell at full sprint in the other direction where it's gone off. If you think it's there, be honest about it. Just, cool worries, back in. It's a medical that we were minutes to get you there, or 5-minute walk back to a building.
No, exactly.
This bush is hardcover. And if you've ever said that at an airsoft site anywhere, you're a massive prick.
Yes.
I don't care if we lose those people, Graham. They should be banned from the game.
Yeah, I go with those people, the same people that stick their barrel through the smallest little crack and go, yeah, it's fine, shoot between a door, between the door and the wall, but it's not fine if someone else shoots through it at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely those type of people. Okay, so that's quite interesting. We've all had four different ones so far. We'll see how long we can keep this one going. Sarah, round 2. Next pest peeve.
I'm going to nick this one off Jake.
Oh, here we go.
No, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Oh, no, mine's slightly different, actually, because this
Okay,
is
my pet peeve is now when someone else steals my idea. That's my pet peeve.
Bye!
Settle it on an airsoft site.
Right, okay. Shall I be nice? No.
No, do it.
No, it's okay. You can. You know what? I will be a gentleman. I will let you steal my idea.
Well,
No, it's fine.
Honestly, Jake, it might be slightly different because it's not actually the elitists I have a problem with. These people that buy these Cry Precision, they all look amazing, right? These military impressions that they do. But it's when they have all this gear and these, 10 grand night vision goggles and all that shit, they look amazing, right? Not hating on them. It's when they hate on the people that don't have Cry Precision. When they have a go at everyone else for turning up in jeans and or a tracksuit or whatever, because they maybe don't want to do that sort of thing. They don't want to do a military impression. Not everyone in Airsoft has an interest in the military. I certainly don't. I never did do. My background is video games, so that's why I do things a little bit differently. Everyone's different, and it's those people that can afford the stuff and do that stuff that don't accept that other people want to be a bit different. It's fair enough for a Milsim. It's probably, the best thing for a Milsim. I'm going to get so much hate for this, but it's people that have all the Cry Precision. I know I keep saying that word, Cry Precision, and all that shit, and then have a go at people that don't have it. And I've heard of a case recently where someone, I heard third hand, someone was actually bullying someone for not owning Cry Precision. That's the simple thing. Having a go at someone for not owning Cry Precision. That's shit.
I'd like to guess who it was, but
We can guess. No,
Go on, you so want to name and shame.
I'm not going to name him because I'm
How
just teasing
badly
him.
and desperate do you want to name and shame that person?
I can name the person.
Go on, do it.
Will he
Shame.
approve?
Oh, airsoft Jack.
I mean, what a bastard for actually having a go at someone for not owning Cry Precision. That is so shit. That really is.
It depends. Could they afford to buy Cry Precision?
I don't know.
And they were just being tight. Because if they were just being tight, that's different.
That was him.
I don't know. Maybe they were scared of ripping up £300 worth of trousers. I don't know. But if
you saying that though, I mean, it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. I personally own a CP sick, and my mate came the other day, and he's got a Cry Precision. In the only difference, I am not even joking. The only difference, one says Cry, one says nothing. There was no difference, and the plates in mine, fucking better. Plates in mine, you shoot that thing, I tell you, mate, you'll hear it half a mile. Whack! It's ridiculous. And yeah, it's an interesting one. I've never heard of actually being somebody be quite hit or is the right kit. Never come across that. I've got to be honest. I think I'm quite lucky to never come across that because that's quite bad. That is genuinely bad.
Yeah, but that's just the internet, isn't it? That's just where I take it this person was being bullied on Facebook.
And so I presume it's
no
online.
Yeah.
But we've had kit shaming, haven't we?
Because when you're on the Cry Precision Facebook page and you're going, nah, TMC gear's better, it's like you kind of deserve
it. We've had some kit shaming in the past, though, and I'll put that under kit shaming. You know, someone not wearing. Do you remember the guy that didn't want to buy a bump hat and had a bike helmet that was just to hold his GoPro or something at the time, and he did that.
That's fantastic.
And it went online. I mean, he spray painted it the whole lot. I think he was having issues with size or something like that. I can't remember the guy now. He was only a young lad. And
you know, how big was his head?
I'm trying to recall what the story was. It was either like they didn't have one in the right size, or it wasn't comfortable, or he had the bike helmet, whatever. It wasn't a price issue. It was more like I had that and it was comfy. So he basically ran this a bicycle helmet, all spray painted up to match his Attax FG kit. And there was a lot of stick the guy got online, and then suddenly everyone in the community just swallowed it up. And I ended up having him on the live show. This is probably about 15 weeks ago, 16 weeks ago. It's that type of time now. So it's quite a few months back. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a big one in person. I think online you probably get a lot more of it.
I mean, I've had it. I've personally had it where people have messaged me and said, "Oh, nice combat trousers," when I'm clearly wearing jeans. And I'm like, does it matter what I'm wearing? I'll shoot you any old way, whatever I'm fucking wearing. You know what I mean? Doesn't stop me shooting you. And it winds me right.
It's a valid point. It is a valid point.
And people looking to come into the sport, they'll see all of this because it is all online and think, well, I don't want to get into that because one, I can't maybe afford Cry Precision because if I don't have that, everyone's going to have a go at me for it. And it's things that are obviously left online for people looking into Airsoft and thinking, okay.
I think you're right. At the end of the day, it can affect some people, especially the younger people, the younger players who think they have to have it. I like to think that a lot of people, especially when you're over your 20s, will look at Cry and go, nope, can't afford that one. Or the other people are just buying it outright. I haven't seen much shaming on when you're talking about £300 clothing. Although you definitely do get the shaming between wearing military equipment, which is kind of, I mean, Airsoft is obviously law and military reenactment from the start, then wearing jogging bottoms and hoodies and stuff like that. But to be fair, I mean, it doesn't stop me. I just go wear a hoodie, wear a combat trousers and just go have some fun. And then other events I'll go and wear the full uniform. But I definitely think you will see. I think a lot of us will say, "Oh, they're rental players if they're not wearing combat gear," because typically the first time someone will go is with a hoodie and jogging bottoms or jeans. Sorry, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. I think that's realistically the way it should be.
Yeah.
So, Jake, going with you, number 2. What's on your list of pet peeves? Jake, number 2. Are you there?
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm
having a lot of interference with this tonight for some strange reason. It's really, really irritating. Okay, so my turn again. Well, as I think the main one overall by far that really does just, if there's anything specific he's going to wind me up on an Airsoft site, it's the guy who, or girl, regardless of who they are, they come over and they're like, really do with this modification.
I didn't catch that at all. I think you just cut out then. Say that again.
Anything about you, I'll tell you something that you mentioned to your gun. Heard of this specific modification. That's the one thing that really winds me up. Someone who offers you advice doesn't match your gun.
Oh, okay.
They've never shoot or perform. They don't own the gun. They don't own any sort of modification they're suggesting, but they will tell you need this modification for your gun.
It's like backseat
That is by
driving,
far
but for airsoft guns.
It annoys me.
It's like the Evo owners page.
Yeah, backseat upgrades. That was quite fun actually. Even this weekend, someone came up to me like, "You should do
the
this
back
to the
the
DAC."
back seat.
Yeah, someone literally gave me a list of stuff. You should do this, this, and this, and this to that. And I'm like, you do know it's not mine. You do know I've got to give it back, and I don't fully intend to upgrade every single component, change parts, or change the barrel. But they still continue to tell me what I should be doing to this rifle. Yeah, I can get that.
It just drives me nuts. It drives me absolutely nuts. It really is the one thing that I'm just. As soon as I hear someone talking to me like that, I try and be polite. I do make my absolute best effort to be polite, but not knowing the. Sometimes you do it and you don't know the people on the site or what. Dude, will you fuck off and get away from in the face? Let alone you're just an idiot.
You should really put a green Hulk rubber in that TM.
You know, it's over to it. Be like, you know what? You've got a name. You've got stick mags.
Jake, you're cutting up, pal.
You know.
Refresh the tab, buddy.
So
you've cut out quite a lot now.
You need boots.
Refresh your screen, Jake, and hopefully you can come back in because you've got some interference there. Jim, what's next on yours?
It is a little bit similar to what Jake just brought up, but it's people that buy guns and instantly have to upgrade them. And it's just like, just run it as it is. Just like, I bought a gun and then I've bought a £150 gun and I've got to put £200 worth of upgrades into it before I even know what it could do because I read it on the internet. That drives me mad. Because you stand there and you go, okay, your gun still can't hit 30 meters, but carry on, you know.
Do you find that strong in the AEG market, or do you find it stronger in the sniper market? Because I know a lot of snipers will literally buy out the box and put, 200-300 quid's worth of upgrades in there.
Yeah, and I think it's true of just airsoft in general, because seeing it now with pistols, I mean, especially Mark 23s and stuff like that, it's like, I want to buy this and fully upgrade it. And it's like, what does fully upgrade even mean? It's just like, I've bought an airsoft gun and I've turned it into a toaster. It's like, I've fully upgraded it. It's just like, we're playing airsoft. It's a 6mm BB that's barely going to do 35 meters. And today's really windy, so it gives a shit, you know? So, that's just old man thoughts, so.
No, I mean, to be fair, I get that. There was a lot of people that will recommend
That's nice.
buy a TM Rico as your first gun. It's kind of like, well, I think you should really just buy something a bit cheaper in your bracket and kind of work your way into what you want rather than just buying stuff.
It's very elitist of you. What if I've got TM money and I want to spend it straight away? It's like, I think just buy whatever makes you happy, but shut the fuck up about it.
It doesn't necessarily make you happy, does it? I mean, someone's saying that is the best.
I don't know. I'd like to own a TM recoil.
If it's some people go, buy an Evo straight away as your first gun. It's like, well, maybe the Evo's not for you. Have you tried it yet? Rather than that is the default go-to. I mean, someone in the chat earlier was saying, oh, what should my first gun be? And I don't think there is a first gun. There isn't one. There's some good brands, but
I'll tell you what, it shouldn't be.
LP9.
It shouldn't be a second-hand one. That's something else that within this whole kind of like airsoft gun buying thing, people that go out and buy a second-hand gun straight away just because they're trying to get around your car, and you kind of go, right, you've just spent 3 times the amount that you were going to spend buying a new gun or renting or waiting, and you've got a gun that's broken because there's a reason why someone else is selling it. Then they're not selling it because they love it and they think it's really good. I mean, the exception is those guys that need to shift stuff because they found girls and now they've got one pregnant.
I don't know what I'm going to tease people when people start selling their stuff quickly.
Yeah.
You just send them a save the date card.
Yeah, that one kind of makes sense, really. Like I say, I think again, I'm going to go back to sniper rifles. Are you still believe that with sniper rifles you should have it out of the box, or do you go no? Actually, there's only a limited amount that's capable part wise, and this is to max it, or do you still do the same thoughts behind that?
My thoughts are still ban all airsoft sniper rifles. The game is far more fun without them. They are crap. But yeah, to be honest, again, I think it doesn't matter if it's a sniper rifle or not. It's just like at least shoot it once and find out what it does, and play around with it and like get to know what it is before you start trying to achieve this mythic performance that's out there. Because it's this. I mean, it's the same thing. Like everyone wants a DMR. They're all trying to achieve these million range shots that just don't exist in airsoft, or if they do, it just makes the game really boring. Everyone just sits there camping, and then it's like, oh great, yeah, you're in your favorite spot, and I'm hiding here behind this because I can't move anywhere, and I really need a wee now, so I'll just go back to the safe zone and hope lunch is ready. Maybe the needing the wee thing is an old man thing again, but I don't know.
So talking about DMRs, I was going to put that on the pet peeve list, but I'll take that one off for this one. High rate of fire builds. I hate them. I think there should be a limit as to what rate of fires that we should have on sites. And I think that is one of the leading reasons why people get so heated up on the sites. So while I'm all for the science behind doing 50, 60 rounds a second, I don't think we should allow anything on sites that do that.
Would you hate science or something?
Well, no,
Is your beef with the guns or with science? Yeah. Come on, Graham.
No, it's great to prove we can do it. The technology behind it, we can do high rate of fire, great. But is it something we need on sites? Do we need to see that in a gameplay environment of 60 rounds a second with a 2,500 round drum mag and Lycra and a Di4 mask?
So if you've got a support gun, then personally I think it's fine. Do that. That should be unlock the achievement within what you're trying to do within that particular setup to have fun with it. The faster that thing goes, the better. If you're trying to do it in a pistol, then you're a massive penis and you just need to fuck off and die. Or an ARP9 or anything that's anywhere in between support gun and pistol.
Even support guns, you don't need a crazy rate of fire. You don't need to see a line of BBs. What you need is enough. You've got enough capacity on there to keep people's heads down, right? I mean,
I disagree with that. I disagree massively with that. If you've got an LMG, it is your duty as an airsofter and as a person, more to the point. It genuinely is your duty as a person to have at least 20, 30, 40 rounds a second, just because when you're spraying it at a tree, and it will be at a tree, not a person, because you'll see a bush move, in the wind, you want to absolutely annihilate every twig on there.
So I can see 30. I think 30 rounds a second is kind of my upper limit. I think that's where I sit as a high. So that's my support.
So would you ban someone from playing on site if theirs was 31 rounds a second?
No, not really.
So really, does it not ultimately matter?
I think it matters when it gets to the extreme amount. So you have to put a level on there where you cap it, don't you? I mean,
but again, I think support guns are just they're there to unleash hate on people, and you need that to for the rest of, especially. I mean, hopefully Jake will agree with that. If you're playing a battle sim or a mil sim event or something like that, and you're working as a team, having something like that is a wicked tool to have that can,
Oh, yeah,
can change
100%.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
some Dutch guys that have got a HPA one that is absolutely amazing, and it's mounted to a vehicle, and that thing's insane, and that works just as you'd want it to. But I mean, the same time, a kid with a ARP9 with a drum mag doing 60 rounds a second, the only thing that's fun about that is watching it when his motor, just burns out and his lipo battery explodes. But I'm a sadist, so
Yeah, I'm really heading.
No,
off.
I mean,
I think milsims are their own territory. For me, I think milsims should be a higher rate of fire, a higher energy limit. At the end of the day, you're shooting on a much different capacity, a much different mindset. I think they're almost
then
their game.
you get those skirmish guys that play as a team as well. So why should they be denied the tool?
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
Basically, you're wrong, Graham.
100%. I really do. I agree with him on that. I mean,
Come on,
bear
Sarah,
in
make
mind,
it 3 against 1. Come on.
And I can justify it. I can simplify it and justify it in this way. Milner, I bought mine second hand off a chap that I know. It runs on a 7.4 LiPo and it does 25 a second. Absolutely fine. My friend has a Stoner, exactly the same as mine. He runs an 11.1 on his, and I think his does between 30 and 40 a second. Again, he's like a laser beam. There was a chap there the weekend, and he had a 249 on HPA, which was a Polestar, and his was doing 79 a second, and he burnt through a box mag. He literally burnt out the gears in his box mag because he'd got it set at 79 a second. And trust me, when that thing fired, we got out of the way. We're on his own team. And I'm like, the rate of fire on an LMG is there for one reason and one reason only, to terrify the people out of the way. Not to hit them, to terrify them out of the way when it's that high. I think...
If you're a skirmish site, do you think that is not going to cause temper to rise?
It does. It does cause a bad temper. I think so. I think this is going to be 3 against 1
boo-hoo.
on this one.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does. It's there. It's there to do one thing, and it's just no, it doesn't. It's there to intimidate, and that's what it does. When you hear something that rolls out, and you're like, if it's a HPA user and they're and they've destroyed the box mag,
life's not fair.
4,000 rounds.
No. True.
Why should Airsoft be any different? Who said anything had to be fair? So if you're a good player, you should dumb down to the lowest common denominator.
Necessarily,
it's there to intimidate. At the end of the day, it's a tool used to intimidate, and I'm not being funny. Sometimes an intimidation factor alone,
I would draw the line at a whole team of guys with those guns.
Yeah.
That's when it gets silly.
What about Cool Under Fire, for example? Throwing it, we've got a lot of regulars there that do run around with 249s and the equivalent LMGs. When that team all run with 4 or 5 of them, you see that in effect. Now,
put it this way: if you've got a team of 30 guys and you've got 2 LMGs and they're throwing out 40 a second, me personally, I wouldn't have an issue with that. I wouldn't have an issue coming against it, and I wouldn't have any going against it. If you've got a team of 20 guys and 19 of them have got 249s and they're all throwing about 50 a second, I'd be wary about them. But at that case, I'd think that gives me more of a challenge to get round behind them and shoot them all in the back. That's just my way of thinking. I wouldn't see it personally as something of a, oh my God, I'm going to get destroyed. I'm thinking of, how am I going to make you look like a twat because you think you're better than me? That's just my way of thinking about it, to be honest.
How many sites have you been to and someone said, oh, they're overshooting? See, that's still, I see that all the time in skirmishing.
2 or 3. I've been to 2 or 3. I've been to 2 or 3 of them, and they're like...
Is that due to
they don't allow...
shot? Or is that due to, for the automatic, firing such a high rate of fire that they can't get their finger off the trigger quick enough? Or do you think that's just people
Personally, it doesn't bother me. The only time it bothers me is when it's a for example, when it is a single shot sight, and they say the rule no full auto, and you get the one guy who thinks that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to say it's a HPA user, because technically sometimes it's not. It's just someone with,
But 9 out of 10
as
times
Jim's
it is.
mentioned, an ARP 9. So 9 times out of 10 he probably is. And literally, you know, he thinks he's got a paintball trigger, and he thinks, you know, he has to come around the corner and put 16 into the plywood and 1 into you. You know, but he ends up putting 16 into you, 1 into the plywood, and then he doesn't hear for the first hit. He has to put another 15 into you.
Yeah.
So, you know, you know that you're hit. Do you know what I mean? That's the high rate of fire on that. That's where I have the issue. It's not an issue for me personally with the rate of fire on what I can perform at. For me, it's about I suppose, if anything, it's the person that should be responsible about it. Everyone loves the full auto version. Graham, you know full well what I'm like when I play. I put 2 or 3 at a board before I even move around the hallway, and I just do, because I know that person ain't going to put the red out, because if they do, they're going to get whacked. And literally, I'll move straight in, and then he'll have another 2, regardless of if there's somebody there. Moving in a tree line, same difference. He'll get a burst, and then I'll go in after it. And, you know, it's all about how responsible you are with the trigger discipline. If you're just there just to cause pain, you're just going to turn your gun right up to the absolute, you know, the absolute limits of your gun, and you're going to spray the living crap out of everything. If you're a HPA user, it's going to hurt. You're going to waste a lot of money on ammo and air, and unfortunately, you're going to hurt people. I think it's all a case of, as long as you're responsible and you are not an absolute twat, it shouldn't matter what your gun is capable of running at. It really shouldn't matter. You can have something that's, you know, 1,000 a second, if you really want to go into that realms of it. As long as you are a responsible, or at least semi-certain.
So I think
that's airsoft there.
I think we figured out my pet peeves for the evening are just airsofters.
It's the whole thing. Let's just
hang up the headphones. We're done. It's airsofters are my problem. Okay, let's make this a fast round 3 then. And this time we'll switch up. We go with Jim, round 3. Next heat.
do we not have Sarah's one?
We'd had Sarah's second one. We're going to go round 3 and we'll start with you, and we're going to swap it around.
Okay, well, if it's going to be quick, I want to go with 2 things, which I know is breaking the rules, but I don't care. One is HPA users in general. No, HPA users in a safe zone with an air tank, and we've all heard it where an air tank will literally dump everything out of it, and they're the same guys that go, HPA is really, really good. It's so safe and everything. And it's like, yeah, you got a 900 bar tank, just dumping out everywhere, and no one's got eye protection on, and well done, congratulations. But we'll draw a line under that one quickly. My other one is when you hear people say at airsoft sites, it's you take airsofts too seriously. And I agree that there is a very, very fine line between you're not in the army, you're not doing, you're not special forces for real, you're just playing a game. But I usually find the same people that say that are the same people that can't follow the basic rules and don't take airsoft seriously enough. They're also the people that will turn up to an airsoft site with a dildo on their head and think they're funny. They'll also turn up to an airsoft site with a lightsaber and think that's clever. I mean, if you turn up with a foam axe,
just so you know, I am one of those twats who has turned up with a cape and a lightsaber. I am one of those twats. I've turned up with a cape and a lightsaber and a pistol.
You were doing so
well. That's
well.
the end of the show.
And, sorry, it's the wrong way. I can't work out the camera angle. No, I again, it's not everyone's got to be, Delta Force, Navy SEAL, all that sort of shit. If you want to do that, crack on. It's fine. I don't care. At the same time, if you pull out a foam axe and try and hit me with it, I'm going to clump you one as hard as I fucking can on the grounds that stop being airsoft. and is moving into the realms of assault. You know, if you come up and smack me with a fucking lightsaber, I don't have a lightsaber, but I've got 2 fists and a couple of size 9s, and I'm quite happy to use them. Yeah. I just don't get the point. I just don't get it.
The best one I ever saw was a giant My Little Pony, and it was all floppy, and it was just lolloping everywhere on this guy's back, and he was just pulling it out and whacking people with it. And I was thinking, this is assault. This is fucking assault.
And it'll be the one that turns around and goes, "Come on, mate, it was just a joke. It was just a joke. You got no sense of humour." It's like, no, I do. I laugh if it's funny. But you're hitting me with a child's toy, you fucking dickhead. Ugh. Hate them.
I think it depends where you are and what you're doing. If you're there, it wouldn't happen at a battle sim or a mill sim. I mean, at skirmishes, I see it. I mean, you've seen the birthday bashes, you've seen the
ban them
boots. You've seen the cosplayers playing Airsoft. I mean, they've got their own defence now, Jim. Haven't you heard?
I have heard, yeah. But I mean, like, if you want to go and do those things, you can go and do them elsewhere. Don't bring them to something that it's not the norm at. You know, that's kind of like, oh, treat me differently, I'm special. It's like, no, you're fucking not. You're a moron. You're an absolute fucking dickhead. You're here because your mum sent you here because you don't have any friends. Yeah.
But I will say, the site where I played at the weekend, they basically were like, rubber knives. That is it. We're not doing chickens. We're not doing anything else. You're not even doing hands.
Fucking
You've
rubber
got
chickens.
a rubber knife on you. That's it.
Oh, and bang rules. Stop going around shouting bang. You're fucking grown adults.
Forget the bang rule.
I mean, honestly.
That was my first
bang. Sorry,
you've had 5 now.
I've run out of beer. Sorry. I'm on a roll.
Sarah, your last one. If Jim hasn't stolen all of them under your belt.
No, I have got a different one.
Wow.
It's a new one. It's a new one I've come across. People who think that the higher the FPS, the better. And I've only learnt this recently, because I used to think that until recently. Till I got my VFC. Till I got my VFC, I've thought that the better the gun, the higher the FPS. And people still believe that. People still go around, oh, this one's like nearly fucking 500 FPS. It's fucking amazing. Yeah, but you can't use it. You can't use it at any site, mate. That's going to shred your ears off. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, the people who believe that is the key to a great gun.
I think anyone who's got a Tokyo Marui will be able to debunk that myth just by the fact that most of them come out at 280 FPS and outshoot anything else out of the box.
I'm not going to really comment.
I would say you've upgraded your TM.
You are right, Jim. It is called Airsoft, but I'm not going to say anything because my TM upstairs, I kind of put a 100 spring in it because to up the FPS, so I'm not going to say anything.
So you're one of those dickheads.
Well, hang on a sec. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's people that go above 350. Is it those guys you've got a problem with?
I only put a 100 in it because my gun specifically shoots .3s. I only wanted to shoot .3s, and that's not to cause pain. It is not to cause pain. It's because it goes further. Because I'm one of those twats who do not like pain. I don't like getting ridiculously close in a milk sim because I know I'm going to get fucked up. I know it's going to happen, so I like to stay a little bit further back, unless I'm cornering in a building. Then that's a different thing. Then grenade soft comes into play. Then,
if they call it,
if it's not an overarm dying attack,
absolutely. Okay, Jake.
But I mean,
go on, Jim. Go on.
I was just going to say, anyone that thinks that if you get to 350 FPS, that solves all of your problems. No, it doesn't. No. It really doesn't. It actually makes them worse. You know, the higher you go.
Yeah, really it does.
Yeah.
It puts more stress on your gears, more stress on the piston. It wrecks your gun quicker, if anything else. It wrecks your gun quicker. The higher the FPS, it destroys your gun quicker.
That's like I've put an 11.1 in it because I want a better rate of fire. It's like, yeah, and iron filings in your gearbox.
On single shot.
Dickhead. My plastic piston will work with this.
Go on then, Jake. Your last one.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Wow.
Jake, your last one of the night.
To be fair, the last one. I think to be fair, the last one for me has got to be the guy who turns up in his trainers to a site that's been covered in mud, that knows he's gonna be playing somewhere hard, and does not take a pair of boots. And that's the guy who annoys me. The guy who turns up somewhere and doesn't prepare. And I'm not talking about, bringing a plate carrier. I don't care if you got a hoodie on, jeans, tracksuits, whatever. But the guy who doesn't bring a decent set of attire, knowing he's going to be running around a woodland, and then complains something chronic, that he's slipping, that, he's going to trip. I'm like, well, you did bring trainers to a woodland that's been raining for 30 days straight. There's mud everywhere. You know what you're going to be doing. Yeah. You're a bellend. You are a bellend. It's your own fault. Don't
break
complain to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And literally, there was a specific patch made, and it was literally, you sign the waiver, stop complaining. Do you know what I mean? That badge should be given to that person for free. It should be given to that person for free.
If you turn up in trainers, the site owner should turn around and tell you, go away. I think it should be as simple as that.
Yeah, it should. I honestly believe it should be a site mandatory rule, along with goggles, glasses, or sufficient eye pro. If you
probably is on most insurance waivers.
If you don't want to wear a helmet and mesh, fine. But if you wear trainers or something, stupid, that potentially you're going to cause yourself a serious injury, get off the site. Don't even show up here. Do one. All you're going to do is just piss people off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. No. I think you're right. I mean, eyewear and footwear are the most important aspects of your kit. That's really the only ones that I think are mandatory in having good ones. And it doesn't have to be expensive.
I think at
the end of the day.
Yeah. I'd rather spend, genuinely, I'd rather someone give me a Springer. Give me a Springer that's like £25, and I'd spent £200 on a pair of really decent waterproof boots that are going to last me 3 years. I'd be happy running around with a Springer, and I would. I really would. Because I know that my are going to look after my ankles. I'm not going to break my ankle and then, I'm knackered for however many weeks because I've been a prat myself. And it's my fault, but you always get that dickhead, and you will get that dickhead who will try and sue the site because they haven't told him, or he wasn't aware. Well, I'm sorry, you knew what you were doing. You are aware. You were bellend. Congratulations.
Snowflakes in general. Just get rid of snowflakes in general. Just get rid of them.
Yes, exactly.
They're not welcome.
Exactly.
Ow, it hurts when I get hit. Okay, all right.
So
go back to the cotton wool
buy a plate
section.
Buy a plate carrier, buy some cry.
Buy a set of balls.
This is nicely to my last pet peeve. My last pet peeve is people that carry too much, especially on plate carriers.
Oh, I know someone that does that. And if you're watching, Ryan, love you. You fucking pack mule of shit. Carrying around so much crap.
Yep, I find the guys that take so much kit get tired and then angry more often are generally the guys that leave at lunchtime because they've overexerted themselves, and then are the guys that call the least amount of hits. Once you've been hitting them and it's just rebounding off every spare molly, empty pouch they've attached to every bit of space capable to them. I mean, when you can't put your arms down on your kit to get your low profile on there, I think you've overdone it. So that's mine.
See, mine isn't that bad. Mine at the moment isn't that bad. Mine presently isn't that bad. I've got a backpack, got like a set of 5 mags on the front, and then a belt. Mine isn't that bad. But when, say for example, we're doing a milsim, I have a lot of crap in my backpack. But I mean,
Backpack's a bit different
it
though, because you're
depends what
taking
you're
it off.
talking about.
If you're in a meal
depends on what
sim,
you're
you're
talking
taking it
about.
off.
Yeah.
If you've
Yeah,
put
it
a molly
depends on what you're
pouch on
talking
front
about.
of another molly pouch,
If you're
an
talking
arsehole.
about the guy, if you're
On a molly pouch.
if you're talking about the guy who's got 350 blooming admin pouches around him, and he's got 15 mags on his pouch extra. I mean, yeah, you're just a twat. Just stay in the safe zone where you're safe. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost as bad as the guy that's running high cap says, I can't find my speed loader. Fucking dickheads. There should be an IQ test to get to play Airsoft. I'm starting to think that should be something that's brought in. You should have to do like a Mensa challenge, and if you don't score less than 98, you're not playing. It's all right to not know the rules, but if you're just fundamentally dumb, then I'm sorry.
It would be a rather
But the best
lonely
part
game.
about it, I mean, I think Graham's seen it. I've posted it before. I took my
To be fair, he knows a lot of dumb people.
with me the weekend. I took my Airsoft Claymore the weekend, and I'm not kidding you. I had it run on a tripwire, and someone asked me, how do I know where to put it? I'm like, dude, it's quite simple. There's a clip on the front of it. It opens up, you pour BBs in it. You point that where you want it to fire at people. And he still asked me, how do you know what to do with it? And I'm like...
Yeah, but that's why Claymores have front towards enemy on them, for just that guy.
Yeah, but he genuinely didn't know which way to put it. And I'm like, at that point, what do you say to someone like that? You're like...
Just go home. Just go home.
Good one.
Look at the flowers. Look at the flowers, then you hit them with a baseball bat. And then you just leave them on the side of a site.
There's a
The
label
world will
on
thank
there
you.
for you.
I just... Well, yeah, there's a special place reserved for you. It's over there. It's called the bunker. We're going to put you in there. It's your God to protect all of the BBs that are on the floor. Oh, man. That's your special mission
really
to
clean
protect the
windows in the
BBs.
safe zone.
Right.
Oh,
Thank
love
you
it.
very much, everybody, for your pet peeves there, and everyone in the comments who are still adding more and more on now. I mean, we've still got loads in there to go, and there's probably far too many to go. I want to just quickly touch on, before the end of the show, about Airsoft news. There was only really one this week, and it is about New Pro. Now, again, it's more of a company thing rather than a player thing. See if I can zoom in a tad. There we go. So this was from Bolt. It's not even on there, is it? No, there it is right at the very bottom. So Bolt Airsoft is now being distributed by NewPro on the wholesale side. Beyond that, I mean, it's been a rather quiet week in Airsoft, and I think we're going to find that as we do these weekly news podcast bits. I'll probably start cutting them out and going, you know what, there's nothing new to talk about. But one thing I did want to say with this, are we seeing that NewPro are going to be pretty much the monopoly on distribution in the UK? Yeah, are they going to be that almost Evike-like in the fact that they are the only real people to go to?
Aren't they already?
As harsh as it sounds, that's why I'm liking TMC even more, to be honest.
I think they do have quite.
I'm not even lying. That's the one reason I'm liking TMC even more.
Well, you go back a few years ago and they didn't have the same amount they have now. I mean, in the last year and a bit, they've taken on a lot more distribution. And obviously it means it's better for the players in terms of we can get hold of stuff a lot easier. But is that something to consider in terms of competition, in terms of, if NewPro aren't heavily backing one company or backing a certain product? Will we see that disappear over the actual company themselves doing it? Now, obviously, they're only involved with the distribution aspects, but it could potentially kill products off, So what's your thoughts? Is it something to be worried about?
I mean, I do genuinely like, I've seen quite a few lads using their new stuff, their new rifles. The fact that they come with, a tight bore is brilliant. The fact that their rate of fire is pretty decent. It's not like their first production rifle that, if you use semi-auto and you fire more shots, it locks the gearbox. Yeah. So you got to put it on for full auto to get back onto it. So that is a good thing, and it's a positive, and it is a plus. I think,
And you can get the spare parts now
yes,
if they
it's a good
rattle
thing
themselves to pieces.
that their parts are brilliant. Yeah, exactly. And their stuff has got a lot better, and their rifles are improving massively. But I think it's just me personally, and it's not me being a snub or any way, shape, or form. I think they've got far too much in the way of choice now, and I know that sounds daft, but they've got over. I think they've got over like 30 different types of the one rifle. Like,
Okay,
you
yeah.
don't need 30 types of that specific rifle. At least diversify a little bit. Bring out a shotgun, bring out an LMG. Bring out something different. You don't need 30 different types of M4 that are basically the exact same M4, but charge completely different prices for what's basically a longer or shorter barrel. That's all you're getting. I think they just need to diversify just a lot, to be honest.
And what about
Not
Nupro in
opinion
terms
on it,
of
though.
the amount they're distributing now? Should we be worried about the amount they're distributing, whether they would want to potentially slow down distribution of certain products over others? I mean, Jim, you might have a little bit more knowledge in this. Is that ever something to worry about?
I don't think it is. I think having a UK distributor of some of these brands is a really, really good thing. They're holding stock in the UK, which isn't true of a lot of distributors. Having to go to Asia and wait for X amount of days shipping, and that's if you're lucky that it actually gets here in the end, and all that sort of stuff is a pain in the arse. So having guys, I mean, for us, they're not a million miles away from us. I place an order on Monday. It's usually here by Thursday. They're really, really good. I don't think that they're going to start going, oh, well, we're less interested in brand A than we are brand B, just because there's so many people within that organisation. So, you can phone up and speak to one, and they're probably more the G&G person than the A&K, which is another brand they've got, which is great because for too long A&K has been one of those brands that's been difficult to get hold of. I think on the whole they do a really, really good job. I don't want to knock them as a distributor at all, because whether it's their own brand stuff, the Neutral stuff, or whether it's E&L or G&G, S&T, I mean, they have got a huge stable of products. And for the most part, they're all here in the UK. So I think it's a good thing for players, because if you want the whatever, pick a gun, whatever it is that they've got, your local retailer that deals with them should be able to pick up the phone to them and next order it's coming. So I think for players, it's a great thing. I think for retailers, it's a great thing. And if Neutral want to have global supremacy on Airsoft, cool. I don't care. It's just as long as we can get the stuff, it doesn't matter. It's like, they're fair on price, and they're good on service as well. I mean, if you have an issue with one of their products, you just pick up the phone to them and you can get it sorted as a retailer, and customers should know that they just go back to that retailer that's got that good relationship with Neutral, because those guys are cool. And I mean, I really want us to be able to get a few of those guys on the show at some point over the next however long. Definitely Ross there. I think he'd be a wicked guest. Danny, Hannah, any of them, even Bip and Paul, who are right at the top of that, would be really cool to find out some more about the Neutral empire. But
definitely a powerhouse now, right?
I'd say. Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's the second show, and we're still talking about Neutral. Last time it was dancing. This time it's about. At least they're doing something. I think that's the important bit. There's other wholesalers out there that are still sitting on the same brands that they've been for 2 or 3 years now, and there's not a lot of change to it. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But at least they're doing something interesting. So
very cool.
No, it's a good point. It is a valid point.
Any input to add on that one, Sarah?
No, I mean, I think Newpro are a good, steady, the way they've come in. I mean, personally, when I got into Airsoft, Newpro was everywhere, and this was 2.5 years ago. I had a Newpro charger, I had Newpro mags, I had a Newpro torch. and they've never let me down. I've still got those bits and pieces. They're good bits of kit. I've never used any of their guns, but for people getting started in airsoft, until you really know what you want to move on to, they're great
Yeah.
pieces of starter kit. And I think as long as they exist, and there'll always be that availability for people who don't really know what they want yet.
No, they are the one-stop shop, aren't they? They
Yeah,
have everything.
yeah.
Obviously, they make none of it themselves, but in terms of they have
Yeah.
everything branded for them. So, I mean, if you want something, you can guarantee New Pro have got something of that element there.
Yeah, so I just feel like they are sort of, if you're new and you want to get into airsoft, they are a good starter company to buy your bits from. So yeah, that's my.
But I think if you're not new, they're still a good company to buy from. I mean,
Definitely.
I bought one of their Pioneer Defenders. You know, it's 135 quid gun, and it works.
That
And
caught
I
you off
don't
guard.
really-
That did catch you off guard. You wasn't expecting it to be as good, was you? At the time, you were like,
Well-
how much is it different from everything else on the market? And
Well, that's the thing. I said to Pete, who owns Platoon Stores, like, I don't know what it's like for entry level anymore, because it's been so long since I looked at, starter guns or whatever else you want to call it. So I bought one and I love it. I think it's brilliant. I mean, there's a couple of changes that I made to it, but it will still shoot a plastic BB at 300 and something feet per second at a man standing the other end with probably a more expensive gun, and he goes, hit. And then I go, fuck off. 135 quid. Dickhead. Joking. Run whatever you want. But yeah, don't underestimate some of the lower end stuff. But they don't just do lower end. They do E&L and stuff like that. So it's, they want everyone.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see who's next on the new pro distribution chart. So let's be fair, it's only going to get bigger.
TM. I want them to get TM.
Crytek. I wonder if they get Crytek. I mean, that's been hard to get in the UK.
No. I don't reckon they'll get Crytek.
I think we're going to see modified parts will be coming through New Pro. So that was some whispers of that already. But it'll be
And
interesting.
modified guns are available at Platoon Stores. Just saying.
Nice plug there.
My one and only shameless plug, yeah.
Absolutely.
No, modified guns are wicked. So, yeah.
No, absolutely. I've got mine here to actually send to you, Sarah. So we'll sort that one out during the week.
Fantastic.
Well, that is us rounding up. Just before we sign off, it's time to kind of share our services and where you can find us. So we'll start with ladies first. Sarah, where can people find you and what you're up to this week?
You can find me on Instagram at _tacticwin, and I will be at Ace Combat on Sunday.
Very cool. Tim, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Crime Watch Tuesday nights. Recurring character. No,
Every character.
Yeah. No, I will also be at Ace Combat this weekend doing the site shop there. Love Ace Combat. Great site. Other than that, I'll be in the shop. I'll be on the internet. I will be crying that I can't afford Cry Precision over in the corner somewhere.
Scrub.
With my 2 toilet tubes over my eyes, pretending they're night vision.
Your Gen 3 rolls, yeah?
Sad but true. But at least they're like the higher end of toilet rolls. I went for Andrex, not just like the shitty Asda own brand. You got to have standards. So.
Jake, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you and when are you next playing?
To be honest, mate, I don't know when I'm going to be next playing. I'm hoping 2 weekends' time. Praying to the airsoft gods, actually. Most of the time, I'm probably on Instagram. Standard name, Jake Pickering, you'll find me. Look for this lovely face. You can see me, stalk me. I love a good stalking. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a couple of weekends' time. I'm hoping at some point to do a mil sim in the next 2 months because the weather's just going to be perfect for it for 24 hours. It'll be good fun, hopefully. And thank you for having me on.
No, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Guys, you can find me on Airsoft Nation. Go to airsoftnation.co.uk, or obviously you're on the Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Some more reviews coming out this week, and more review of the GBLS coming very soon. So I'll be looking for a skirmish day. Thank you so much for watching us, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.